back home in Nigeria is gone and may never come back until that country disintegrates. Because honestly, a failed state, the only solution to a failed state is disintegration. To your thanks, O Israel. Everybody should go and take care of themselves.
Onyia, President of American Military Veterans of Igbo Descent, Avid. I'm here today with rising sons and ambassadors for self-determination. We're in the state capital to bring our concerns to the American folks that Nnamdi Kanu needs to be released now. A lot of people have talked about him being unjustly incarcerated for nothing. He is not the problem of Nigeria. If anything, he's the solution to solve Nigerian problems. We're asking President Tinubu, just like we asked President Buhari, that got him in the first place, to release him. They have not done anything to anybody. On this note, we are reminding the world about what happened in January 2017, when inauguration of Donald Trump was celebrated in Port Harcourt, and the Nigerian government shut down and killed over 27 young youths of Igbo descent, IPOB young stars, for doing nothing but cheering up the president of their choice. This happened and nobody have been brought to account for that. We are asking that the government of the United States under Donald Trump, president, to look into that massacre, because it was democracy that was being celebrated. And those youths were happy, rejoicing that such a good thing happened, and the military went and killed them all like chickens. We continue to ask, what is it that you're holding Nnamdi Kanu for? And we believe, as a British citizen, the British government's hand is in it, because Nnamdi was discussing about the atrocities they're doing in Nigeria. They don't want any development in Nigeria. Everything that we are doing is what Nnamdi was preaching on. And everything he have said before have happened today, and it's still happening. The jihadis coming in to work for the British government and to be killing people, the Fulani herdsmen, the terrorists, and that's what they are, killing people, trying to displace indigenous people, trying to take their lands from them, land grabbing. We want the world to look into it, more especially the United States government. For one thing, if nothing is done, once these jihadis get hold of the southeast, the Christians that they're trying to exterminate, they will have hold of the sweet crew. And once that happens, the next thing will be to challenge the United States and even the Britain that is encouraging them to do their bad deeds.
So, Father, I've heard that a Nigerian government official, the Inspector General of the DSS, Department of State Services, has said, Nigerians, defend yourselves from the terrorists and the bandits, end quote. So, Father, as a minister of God, do you support self-defense, especially where it may lead to the killing of your assailant?
Thank you very much, sir, for the question. And if you don't mind, let me begin by thanking you and your colleagues who have been working with us tirelessly to bring to the awareness of the world the level of injustice that is going on in Nigeria. It's getting too much. And at some point, somebody somewhere has to stand up and say, enough is enough. Now, coming to your question, yes, the Director General of DSS, who in American context, we might equate to the Director of Homeland Security, is a special government official in Nigeria who is privy to top secret intelligence, actually. For him to step forward and publicly told Nigerians, arm and defend yourselves, tells me a couple of things. One, Nigeria is either becoming a failed state or is already a failed state. Why? Because he said that they don't have enough government manpower to defend you. The military, the police, the DSS, that they don't have enough power to defend their citizens. What is the primary responsibility of any government, democratic government? To defend the lives and property of the people. So, for the director of DSS to say, we don't have what it takes to protect you Nigerians, it means that they are incapacitated. Self-defense is a natural phenomenon. If I were to pinch you now, you will blink unconsciously in defense of yourself. So self-defense is a natural phenomenon. But in the context of the DSS, honestly, I wasn't expecting that we shall come to that level at which the common people are required to arm themselves and defend themselves. But guess what? It has happened. In other words, what it means is you're on your own. If anything happens to you, you have yourself to blame. Now, because self-defense is a natural phenomenon, I have never read about any law, moral law, Christian law, civil law, natural law that is against self-defense. None whatsoever. But you know what? Where you have a good government, you take it for granted that you are protected. And so it's not even a question of whether I support it or not, or whether it is legal or not. And then for the government to say, defend yourself. Now, we are taking self-defense to a higher level. The level of you have to do everything possible to protect your life. Your life is the most precious gift God has given you. Very, very precious. God has given us a precious life to take care of, and we should guard it judiciously. But what is happening in Nigeria is that a group of bandits, terrorists, have taken it upon themselves to be massacring people at will. They carry arms all over the place, unchecked, unhindered. And they are decimating ethnic groups in the name of herders, farmers, clash, rubbish. There is more to it. There is a hidden agenda. And that is ethnic cleansing and religious persecution. That is what has been going on. At this point in time, I will actually go the extra mile to advocate for self-defense. And people should defend themselves. And I'm asking my people, you cannot waste the life, precious life God has given you. You must defend it. Because there's no way. It has come to that. If the government tells you to defend yourself, defend yourself. That's what I will tell my people. And then I will ask our brothers and sisters in diaspora, especially here in America, who are from Igbo descent, Igbos here in America and Europe, organize yourselves, raise money, and make sure that your respective communities at home are protected. Have a very working vigilante groups, and make sure that your communities are protected. The time to pretend that everything is okay back home in Nigeria is gone and may never come back until that country disintegrates. Because honestly, a failed state, the only solution to a failed state is disintegration. To attend school Israel, everybody should go and take care of themselves. From the local communities, maybe to the regional level. And guess what? This is exactly what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been preaching for more than 10 to 15 years. That these people are coming. These are mercenaries sponsored by the Fulani hegemony to decimate the rest of the ethnic groups in Nigeria. And the government has done little or nothing to stop them. And to our greatest embarrassment, or even being fair to them, they have now told us officially that there's not much they can do.
So, Bruce Fine, as a constitutional lawyer and the International Council for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and you've visited Nigeria many times. Your client has served over 5 years in prison. What is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's current situation, And how has the current state of the Nigerian constitution and the rule of law affected Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's freedom?
Well, thank you for that wonderful question. We're really gathered here today to pay homage to Nnamdi Kanu and his unsurpassed courage that has given the Biafrans hope, which is what sustains the people and moving forward towards justice. Nnamdi Kanu was victim of a crime. Crime perpetrator was the nation of Nigeria. In 2021, he was kidnapped and tortured in Kenya. He was then returned to Nigeria, where he's been denied a trial for now over 4 years. I helped precipitate a ruling from the working group on arbitrary detention in Geneva, holding very unambiguously and calling for the immediate and unconditional of Nnamdi Kanu because the government of Nigeria had violated 16 human rights covenants that were binding on all nations, whether they accepted them or not. The Nigerian government has flouted that decree now for almost 3 years. Nnamdi Kanu remains in isolation. Again, he's never ever been given an opportunity for a trial. There are repeated adjournments because there is no evidence. I've examined the indictments. They're really quite hollow. They don't have any specificity of what Nnamdi Kanu did that caused any kind of violence or harm. And at present, there still is no scheduled trial date. It's a continuing criminal violation by the Nigerian government. The great irony is that the real case should be Nnamdi Kanu versus the government of Nigeria, which should be in the defendant's chair. One of the things that's very astonishing is that for hundreds of years of Anglo-American jurisprudence, there's a motto: crime should not pay. The Nigerian government is trying to make their crime against Nnamdi Kanu pay, which is intolerable.
Bruce, what can be done to the government of Nigeria to help free Mazi Kanu?
Well, there are several precedents. One, during apartheid, South Africa was suspended from the United Nations General Assembly until Nelson Mandela was released. And there's nothing that prevents petitions now to the United Nations General Assembly insisting that Nigeria be suspended until they release Nnamdi Kanu. That's one possibility. Another would be if you had the president issue an executive order says there are going to be no Nigerian visas to visit the U.S. until Nnamdi Kanu is released. That would impress upon all Nigerians the penalty they're paying because the government is being so lawless and tyrannical. There are other options like having an international arms embargo on Nigeria until Nnamdi Kanu is released, having very, very high tariffs on anything sold by Nigeria until Nnamdi Kanu is released. These are financial pressures. They've been utilized in other countries in the past. It's a matter of political will, not law.
Chief Ugonna, how do the attacks on the Christian community and the continued injustice faced by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu serve as a serious warning sign for all Nigerians about the state of justice and freedom in the country?
You know, that's an excellent question, and thank you for posing that. I want to tell you a short story. I've been going to the region for 20 years, and the first 10 years that I was there, it was quite peaceful, at least in the southeast. Some of this was brewing already in the north, but in the southeast and the spaces where I was at with the Igbo, quite frankly, was fairly peaceful. And then, right around the time actually when they put Mazi Nnamdi Kanu under chains, things blew up. And more than that, I think when people in the villages and the boroughs of Southeast Nigeria look at this, they see, wow, if they can do that to somebody like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is quite an individual, what could they do to me? What can they do to the individual citizens? It's just gone wrong. I'm telling you, and I've told the State Department here before, not from this current administration, but the previous one, that if in fact, if we don't do something about this, that place is going to implode, and we're going to end up with a pile of people coming over who will immigrate just to get out of the place. That's what's going to happen. I think the other thing that lines up where the people, the situations that they're living in, many of them are Christians. We've said before, 90% plus are Christian. Those who are Christian are experiencing the same kind of attack. There's a group in Southeast Nigeria called Inner Society, and they're a data crunching kind of group. And they've also got a very nice legal angle where they triangulate on everything to make sure that what they print is real. And they printed a statistic where they said just recently that for a period of 9 years, there were more than 30,000, mostly Christians, either killed or extremely violated. And even since they printed that, another 9,000 have been added to the list. So you're talking about 40,000 people. When we had our 9/11 here in the U.S., it wasn't anywhere near 40,000. Look at the reaction we had. 40,000 people being killed or violated should draw an unbelievable personal explosion. I think one of the things that people need to do, citizens, whoever is a citizen in Nigeria listening to this broadcast, need to really think this way. I used to work for a guy who said, you know what, now that we've had all this discussion, that's all wonderful, but tomorrow morning when you wake up, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And the point is, you need to be able to answer that question. And for me, it comes down to three things. The first is you need to understand what's going on. What's going on in your village? Who are those strangers out in the bush? Who are they? What are they doing? You need to understand what's happening to you. You can't wait for somebody to tell you. Nobody's going to tell you. When DSS has already said, you know what? You better take care of yourself. Actually, I don't know if they really want to give us any good advice, but that's good advice. We need to take care of us. You need to get up and understand what's going on. The second thing you need to do is you need to have a plan. You need to start to think about, what am I going to do tomorrow morning? What's the plan? I need a plan. And the third thing you need to do is...
So guys, thank you very much for staying to the end of this video. So what's your take on this? Please kindly drop your comment below the comment section. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, share this video, make it go viral. Let be our friends, okay? See what is going on. Thank you. See you in my next video. Bye for now.